A pleasant day, STEM learners. This is Sir Peter, your statistics and probability teacher. So this is the last lesson for week number 1. This time, let's talk about the type 1 and the type 2 errors. So at the end of this video lesson, you should be able to illustrate the types of errors in hypothesis testing. Examine the following statements and identify the errors. Brian thinks that he is a 6-footer. His actual height is 156 centimeters. Actually, there is something wrong about what Brian thinks because a person whose height is 156 centimeters is approximately almost 5 foot. So meaning Brian is not a 6-footer. Second statement. Anna says, I am virtuous. In the next month or in the next moment, she finds herself in jail. So there is something wrong about Anna's statement. Being virtuous, meaning you are always doing what is good. But it's very ironic that you will be in jail after telling that you are virtuous. Third statement, thousands of years ago, Ptolemy declared that the earth is flat. So this has long been disproved by many scientists because we know that the earth is obliquely spheroid. So we do not anymore believe on flat earthers. Fourth statement, on a beachfront, a signage reads, no littering of plastic wrappers, empty bottles, and cans. A few yards away, environmentalists are picking up rubbish left behind by picnic lovers. So it is very often that, many people who go to the beach, are disabiding the law. Okay, so what is something wrong about it? Sometimes whenever there is a signage on it, that is where people usually commit breaking laws. So by understanding the decision grid, we would be able to come up with right decision making. So in reality, there are only two possibilities. It's either the null hypothesis is true or the null hypothesis is false. So you could either commit an error if you arrive at a wrong decision. So if the null hypothesis is true, then the correct decision is do not reject it. So that is a correct decision making. However, if the null hypothesis is false, the correct decision is to reject it. So these are the only ways in which you will arrive at correct decisions. Okay? Rejecting what is false and accepting what is true. However, if you do the opposite, therefore, there is a tendency that you might commit errors in decision making. So if you know that the null hypothesis is true, but you rejected it, then you are committing a type 1 error. This is when you do not accept the truth. Okay? But if you know that the null hypothesis is false and you accepted what is false or you do not reject it, therefore, you are committing a type 2 error. So usually, people who commit type 2 errors are people who are law breakers because they are accepting what is not true or what is false. So here is the summary of the table. So if the null hypothesis is true and accepted, or it is false and rejected, then the decision is correct. And if the null hypothesis is true and you reject it, the decision is incorrect, so therefore you are committing a type 1 error. And if the null hypothesis is false and you accepted it, the decision is incorrect, and this is a type 2 error. So in an ideal situation, we will not commit errors if we accept the truth and reject what is false. So this is the only way on which you could decide well, no, on your life. No? You always accept what is true and reject what is false. Let us study the following examples and take note of the following. No? Discussed for better understanding of hypothesis testing. So Jace insists that he is 17 years old when in fact he is 20 years old. What error is Jace committing? So Jace is committing a type 1 error because he is rejecting what is true. Second situation, Dave says he is not bald. His hairline is just receding. Is he committing an error? If so, what type of error? So Dave must accept that he has already a receding hairline, so which indicates balding. So if he will not do something about it or put some remedial measures to stop his falling hair, then he is not accepting what is true. So the type of error that Dave is committing is a type 1 error. Then Mark plans to go hunting the Tamaraw, believing that it is the proof of his mettle. What type of error is this? So hunting the Tamaraw is prohibited by the law, thus it is not a good sport. So it is a type 2 error because Mark is a lawbreaker. So since hunting the Tamaraw is against the law, the man may find himself in jail if he goes out of his way hunting endangered species. So in short, if you are a lawbreaker, then you are committing a type 2 error. If you are cheating during the exams or cheating in your submission of outputs, then you are committing a type 2 error. If you cannot accept the grade that you have received or you cannot accept your physical features, then acceptance is the key, no, for you not to commit a type 1 error. So that's the end of our discussion. Again, this is Sir Peter, your statistics and probability teacher.